Pashley, and I'm a therapist working in County Sligo, but offering sessions worldwide via Skype to people all over the world. And today I'm just going to talk about self-sabotage and saboteur energy and how that can really limit us, limit our lives, limit our ability to show up as ourselves with all our creativity, all our special gifts, and how it can just really overshadow our lives. And there are different ways in which I deal with this, and having trained in a lot of different approaches, I very often tend to combine different approaches and work very much with what I perceive my client needs at the time. But let's just talk about sabotage energy. And it can show up in a number of ways. It can show up as just not even going, not even daring to go for what we want, because we've already in a way put the brakes on to ourselves. We've ruled out certain things as being possible for us, and that can be because of maybe messages we were given as kids, maybe messages that we were given about life, and we could have been told we were stupid. We could have been told we don't amount to anything. And at some level, we may have thought that what those things that were said to us were actually a load of rubbish. But even with thinking that, we can still take on board energetically what they said, especially if it was said in a very forceful or emphatic way, or the person saying it to us seemed to be in some sort of position of authority to us. So it could have been a teacher, it could have been a parent, and we come to believe that about ourselves. So it's maybe there are certain parts of us that we never reveal, that we hide away. And I describe this a bit like driving with the brakes on. And one of the ways in which I work with this sort of energy is using a technique called the body code, which was devised by an American chiropractor called Bradley Nelson. And identifying saboteur energy and then deciding, is this an external saboteur? In other words, is it coming from another person or another, even an institution, or is it coming from ourselves? And having established what kind of saboteur or sabotage energy that is, then we can make an image of that, the impact of that energy on us. So for example, if we've had a parent who is very critical of us, it can perceive like we're having little darts thrown at us, and that can really give us the feeling that it's not safe to be us, or even the demotivation really about ourselves, that whatever we do is never going to be good enough. Other sorts of saboteur energy can be, if we have a really controlling parent, it can feel like we're being tied up so that we don't have choice. And again, that can lead us to think, well, there's no point in trying because there's nothing we can do. Equally, we can have the kind of saboteur energy which actually says you're not there, you're invisible. And then that makes us, either that can make us really want to be very attention seeking, to go to the other extreme and drive people away that way, or just to blend into the background and feel that who we are is not worth revealing. And that is obviously very, very negative. So with the body code, having made an image, and sometimes made an image which can seem to be quite an exaggeration of that energy, just in order to really make that the energy that we want to clear very visible. We clear it very simply, and we can sometimes need to put a different image or a different energy in place of what we've removed. And so, other ways in which I see saboteur energy showing up in people is people who really are really in many ways high achieving. They try very hard, they work very, very hard, and then somehow they do something to screw up at the last minute. So it could be that they spend hours and hours studying for an exam, and then they wake up late on the morning of the exam and they're not in time for the exam. Maybe they go for an interview, having worked really, really hard and to get the qualifications for the interview, and having put the application in, and then they get lost on the way to the interview, and or arrive then very flustered, and so they kind of negate their chances of succeeding. So other examples can be like you go on a health and fitness regime and you're doing really, really well, and then suddenly you decide you're just going to completely just go back to your old ways, and just wipe out any of the gains, any of the things that you've achieved. And it can be really soul destroying, and we can go round and round in this cycle of trying, then screwing up and trying again. And sometimes within that, there can also be a sense of somehow protecting ourselves by not succeeding. That the unconscious at some level thinks that success will present us with more problems than failing. And sometimes we need to then change that old program to actually dialogue with the unconscious and give it a different program, ask it to remove that old program and give it our new intention that we're going to be safer, happier, and more fulfilled by being able to achieve, to be ourselves. And I think the last thing I'd like to say here is another underlying cause of self-sabotage can be an underlying sense of guilt. And we might not even know what that guilt is about. It might be a guilt even passed on from generations past. It can be a guilt that some kind of existential guilt that may be a leftover from a past life, or something that we really can't consciously pick up where it comes from. But we can still work with this and we can clear that. Because if we have guilt, we don't believe we deserve any better. And we're always in some way going to sabotage any attempts we make to improve our life. And of course, having said all that, everything we do in life is going to have ups and downs. It's going to have things that we can easily perceive as failures. And it's how we perceive that. So, for example, a person who doesn't have saboteur energy is going to perceive things not going the way they want as just feedback, as just another chance to do something differently, to achieve something, to go on achieving, but to try a different tack. And somebody who has that sabotage energy is just going to think, that's it, I'm unlucky, I'm never going to get anywhere, I might as well just give up. So if you feel that you have this energy holding you back and you'd like to be free of it, would like to have the ability to just really get on, enjoy your life, achieve those things that are important to you, and stop shooting yourself in the foot, stop stopping yourself from having and being, having what you want and being who you know that you could be, then do get in touch with me. And sometimes it's much easier to work with somebody else for them to see what's really going on, and to help support you clear this so that you can be the amazing person that you are underneath all the rubbish of this sabotage energy. So thanks for listening, and you can go to my website, which is www.maggiepashley.com. Thank you. Bye.